As you might have heard, Katy Perry just recreated her E.T. music video, and by that, I mean she literally launched herself into space. Katy Perry in space wasn't on my bingo card, but hey, that's life. Perry's adventure took the internet by storm. People were making memes all day long and after because, I mean, a major pop star just sent herself into space and then spent a chunk of the ride waving a daisy in front of the camera. That's internet kindling if I've ever seen it. But this isn't all fun and games. The singer has faced an unprecedented amount of criticism from your average Joe all the way to more famous ones like Joe Rogan and other celebrities, of course. So let's get into why people are up in arms about the latest space exploration. Alright, what does Joe Rogan, the man known for being really fair and respectful when he speaks about women, what does he have to say? Well, for starters, like most people, he mocked Katy Perry's reaction to the space trip and how she's behaving after re-entering orbit. Perry has really tried to make it clear that she is a changed woman after seeing the planet. She kissed the ground after landing, kinda that's the vibe, said that she feels super connected to life and love. Part of the reason people are mocking this reaction is because they feel it's extreme given the length of time that she was actually in space. It was only about like 11 minutes or something like that. To people, the time spent in space does not equal the time spent hearing about it. So the first thing Joe Rogan criticized was seemingly in response to how she was speaking about her feelings after. About it, Rogan sarcastically said, "It was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now." It's clear that he shares the sentiment that many people are feeling, that Perry is being a bit over the top about her experience, but I mean, think of it this way, humans were never supposed to see the Earth in this way, so it's no wonder that Perry feels like a changed woman. I would too. He also mocked Perry's daisy. The photo of Perry in space holding up her daisy to the camera, the clip of her waving the daisy in front of it, went viral online. People mocked the performer for paying more attention to this flower and the camera than the Earth behind her. Many wondered why there was a flower in the first place. Perry is known for interesting behavior and just like camp all the way, see Left Shark for example, but the reasoning behind her interesting choice this time was that the flower represents her daughter, Daisy. So she was probably waving it in front of the camera so much because she wanted to be sure that her little girl understood that she was in space with her mom too. Which, I have to admit, that's pretty cool. Imagine being little 5-year-old Daisy and seeing your mom bring you to space. She's the coolest kid in the class, officially. Joe Rogan, I don't think, knew all of that background though, nor would I expect him to, so upon being asked what he thought Perry discovered about herself while in space, he said, well, she brought a daisy, which is super important, before making comments about her nails. About the short time period the crew was in space for, he jokingly said, let's celebrate female astronauts. But Joe Rogan isn't the only big name putting Katy Perry on blast for her trip. Olivia Munn has pointed out the economic issues surrounding the Blue Origin's celebrity-filled flight. She isn't alone in questioning the amount of money that went into this flight considering the state of the average person's finances right now. Lots of people have expressed how ridiculous it is that so much money is being spent on sending some people to space for fun when there are so many people that can barely afford to live down below. During an appearance on Today with Jenna and Friends, Munn said, I know this is probably obnoxious, but like, it's so much money to go to space, and there's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. Going further, upon finding out the team went up in full glam, calling the mission gluttonous. Munn also questioned the environmental impact of the trip, something that many people have expressed concern over. Emily Ratajkowski is another voice in a chorus expressing concern for the planet after the Blue Origin's star-studded flight. With only 11 minutes in the atmosphere, people are wondering if the environmental impact of the trip was worth it, especially considering the trip seemed more for pleasure than science. The model called the trip beyond parody and disgusting. She pointed out the environmental impact the company responsible for the rocket, Amazon, have had, saying, you care about Mother Earth and it's about Mother Earth and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet, urging those watching to think about everything that went into making the spaceship and all the resources. The only silver lining when it comes to the environmental impact is that the Blue Origin didn't pollute in the way a normal spaceship might. This type of ship doesn't cause as much pollution because it's powered using liquid oxygen and hydrogen. However, just because something doesn't pollute doesn't mean it's good. Professor Eloise Marius shared that when the hydrogen and oxygen are released into a dry stratosphere, that can influence the climate. So even though this trip might not harm the environment as much as people thought that it did, that doesn't mean it didn't harm it at all. And what is more worrying, it will potentially be the catalyst in a new form of tourism, space tourism. Having tourist rockets regularly going up would have an impact on the environment. So even though we don't have to worry as much about the space shuttle's impact environment-wise, we should worry about what it could potentially promote. Popular actress Jessica Chastain has spoken out about the Blue Origin spaceflight, subtly calling it the utter defeat of American feminism. Now that sounds really dramatic, and I will say that Chastain didn't say these words herself. What she did was share an article on her Twitter account. It was an opinion piece on the space flight with the headline, "The Blue Origin flight showcased the utter defeat of American feminism." But it's clear just in sharing this how Chastain felt about the Blue Origin. The reason people care about what Chastain has to say isn't just because she's a famous actress. I mean, like, kind of it is. She's done a lot of movies about space. Not that that means that she is by default an expert on the subject, but she was in Interstellar. Popular social media influencer and voice for social justice, Matt Bernstein, has shared his thoughts about Blue Origin. In their signature posting style, the influencer pointed out the harm that promoting this kind of space travel can cause, especially when the CEO is a man that the public is already quite frustrated with due to the environmental impact of his companies, Jeff Bezos. In their post, they referenced how it said this trip was beneficial because it was about innovation, to which their response was, maybe, but not for us. There's a reason these innovations are made by and for the same billionaires who are, allegedly, avoiding the taxes that could pay for our healthcare and climate conservation. It's hard for me to appreciate space tourism for people who are killing the planet the rest of us still live on. Amy Schumer was quick to get in on the Blue Origin space action, sharing a sarcastic video of herself to her Instagram, claiming that she received a last-minute invite to the trip and would be bringing a random item from her bag that has no meaning to her. This was seemingly in response to Katy Perry bringing a daisy on board and waving it in front of the camera. Admittedly, that does seem like kind of an odd move without context. However, Perry's daughter is named Daisy, and with that knowledge, the action makes complete sense. Still, people didn't hear that part right away. All they saw was the now viral meme of Katy Perry waving a daisy around, and Schumer just wanted to join that party. Olivia Wilde spoke up about the spaceflight through referencing all the memes that came about because of it. While the actress didn't make her own direct statement or anything like that, she did make an indirect one. On her Instagram story, Wilde reposted a carousel, which is an Instagram post with multiple photos in it. This carousel was all Blue Origin memes. Wilde captioned the story, $1 billion bought some good memes, I guess. The Blue Origin spaceflight is not cheap. I mean, what space travel is. The seat prices are not widely known. Figures ranging from $100,000 to $28 million have been thrown around. I don't doubt that either could be real. Wilde is yet another celebrity to point out the economic controversy surrounding the event. In an odd turn of fate, even stranger for the 2025 bingo card than Katy Perry going to space, is popular fast food chain Wendy's roasting her for it. The restaurant's Twitter account replied to a tweet announcing Katy Perry's arrival back on Earth with, "Can we send her back?" Many people thought this was very funny, but Perry herself did not appreciate the jab. Wendy's has since apologized, saying, "We always bring a little spice to our socials, but Wendy's has a ton of respect for Katy Perry and her out-of-this-world talent." Soon, Kesha joined that Wendy's drama. What could that possibly mean? So glad you asked. After the tweet was made and picked up steam online,